Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Tiny Pulpit. I am your host, Dr. John Betterson, and I have before us today none other than the very well-renowned Dr. Ralph Hughes. He is a speaker, an author, a scholar, but most importantly, he is a brother and a member of the faith. So what I'm going to do is kick it over to my friend here. Without further ado, I'm going to let him inspire us and lift our spirits. So Dr. Hughes, take it away, sir.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Dr. Bedison, for having me on the show. I really appreciate that. And one of the things you wanted me to talk about was servant leadership, because one of the things I talk about a lot is, in fact, leadership. And I believe servant leadership is much needed in many organizations. And I'm going to tell you something. Many organizational leaders, whether it's in government, higher education, or corporations, unfortunately, they lack servant leadership. Not to say every single leader in all of these organizations lacks servant leadership, but a lot of them do. And I'm saying that, and I set it up by saying that I worked in corporate America. I've worked in law enforcement. I actually retired from working in law enforcement for 22 years, and I've been working in higher education for over 20 years. So I've seen it. I've seen the good and I've seen the bad. Unfortunately, the bad outweighs the good, especially when you look at it from a servant leadership perspective. Most of them don't understand that a good level of servant leadership entails having empathy and compassion. And perhaps they don't have that due to a lack of training or maybe even confidence in some situations. But servant leadership is based on a premise, just for you to know, and just to add some context here, of serving followers in the interest of furthering the mission and the vision of the organization or even in the church, which is conducive to a harmonious work environment for inspiration, for motivation, innovation, creativity, and productivity, and essentially, I should say, overall success. Therefore, servant leadership is ultimately concerned with employees' overall well being, ensuring that they are not overworked, that take ample breaks, that they make sure they take ample breaks and carry a manageable workload. And I can tell you during my early days of studying leadership, and I know you have too, Dr. Bettison, you read the book entitled Servant Leadership, authored by Robert K. Greenleaf. This is a great book to have in terms of learning and understanding and applying servant leadership. Now, Greenleaf authored the original context, if you will, of servant leadership in 1970. Now, the biggest connection for me was when I read Greenleaf's book, Servant Leadership, was when he talked about the Bible in terms of servant leadership, specifically about Jesus. Now, Greenleaf made the persuasive case that a great leader is first a servant. Now, he shared
Right.
several examples of Jesus as the ultimate servant leader. He was able to clearly articulate how Jesus, excuse me, led his disciples through compassion, empathy, and brotherly love. Now, one text that comes to mind, and I'm sure you as well, Dr. Bettison, is John 13, verses 4 to 5. And I'll read it.
Yeah,
Let me put on my glasses first. Sorry about that. It
you're fine. It's
reads,
good.
so he got up from the meal, took off his outer clothing, and wrapped a towel around his waist. After that, he poured water into a basin and began to wash his disciples' feet, drying them with the towel that was wrapped around him. Now, here's the thing, and this is an excellent definition of what servant leadership truly entails. And I'll tell you why. Here's some takeaways from the verse. And I'm sure you've heard it a lot. We've heard this a lot in terms of servant leadership if you run in our circles. But I'm going to break it down a little more. Probably a lot of people haven't heard it from the perspective that I'm about to share. Now, Jesus
Mhm.
gave himself mind, body, and spirit fully and wholly. How? Here we go. By unselfishly taking the towel that was wrapped around his waist and by using it to dry his disciples' feet. Here's another one. Jesus kneeled before his disciples, indicating that he was not above them in terms of, here we go, you ready? In terms of titles or prestige. A lot of
Right.
secular leaders, they get it wrong in terms of that because they think it's about their title, they think it's about
Right.
all about who I am. Now, here's another one. Jesus sacrificed his comfort for the well-being of his disciples. How? Again, by removing the robe that he made from the towel. Now, from a secular standpoint, or even in today's time, we can say that the removal of the towel symbolizes that many people today hide behind masks. In other words, confidence as well.
Yeah.
Disrobe your mask, please. Now, Jesus
Right.
elevated Jesus elevated his disciples by showing again compassion, grace, care, humility by drying their feet. Now, Jesus also made a statement, a model and example for his disciples to follow, and for us as leaders in the church to follow as well. But also, he created it as a template or blueprint on applying servant leadership in our homes, in our communities, and in our businesses, as well as positions of, you guessed it, leadership, what we're talking about today. Now, from this perspective, leaders serve with a Christ-like attitude, putting others first. This leads
Right.
me to another verse. If I have time, hopefully I can share that.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right,
Absolutely.
good. Appreciate it. I have it up here. In Matthew 20, verses 26 to 28, Jesus provides, excuse me, sorry about that, instructions on being a servant by saying, whoever wants to be great among you must be your servant, just as the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve and to give his life as a ransom for many.
Mm.
Now, an excellent secular example of maintaining a servant mindset is in Simon Sinek's book. I'm sure you read that too, Dr. Bedison, Leaders Eat Last. One
Right.
scenario that I love that's in the book describes how junior Marines and United States Marines receive their meals before generals, commanders, and senior Marines, and why leaders eat last. Basically
Right.
explaining the importance of leaders focusing on the people. This is where
Right.
so many secular leaders they get it wrong. They lead by putting their needs, the followers' needs, first. This
Right.
the right. This is disconnected from where in the church we actually have that Christ-like mindset. So we believe in elevating and putting followers first. Now, here's another point. Servant leadership entails more than putting followers first, like I just mentioned. It's also about putting service ahead of self interest, listening first
Mhm.
to affirm others, your followers, inspiring trust by being trustworthy, and nourishing others and assisting them in being whole. Now, servant leaders, they cherish and respect people as human beings. And I emphasize that simply because I've worked in so many organizations where I see supervisors, managers, people in the leadership positions, they don't look or even treat their people like human beings in how not
Right.
only in terms of treatment, but in how they talk to them and in the manner in which they speak to them. Now, I personally consider myself a servant leader because I believe engaging in relationships with people to bring about their best selves. I enjoy serving. Serving creates the best working environment that says
Right.
to followers, look, I'm here for you. I trust
Right.
you. I admire you. I know you can do it. Now, finally, if more people in leadership or managerial positions adopt a mindset of serving leadership, I affirmatively believe that many issues that plague some of the churches, as well as many of the corporations in terms of employee turnover, burnout, or even disenfranchisement can be eradicated. So here's my point, and I'm going to leave you with this. When you adopt a servant leadership mindset, you will inevitably adopt a heart of a servant. And by doing so, you not only have a heart, but you give people your heart and perhaps can save a heart. So, in other
I
words,
love it.
have a heart, have a heart, give a heart, and save a heart. That's servant leadership to me. And I'm out. Thank you so much, Dr. Bedison.
I love it. Look, oh, man, let me tell you, Dr. Hughes, every time we speak, man, I have to say this. And if it embarrasses you, I apologize. But I've never met a scholar like yourself who, when they speak, they actually speak like a textbook. You are a I mean, it is. I'm in awe every time I listen to you. This guy's a walking
Well,
textbook. I love it. So lots of takeaways from your talk today. I really love that. The biggest one for me was leaders who sacrifice their comfort,
mm-hmm.
right, for others' well-being. That is profound, and that's the crux of the whole matter, right? You know,
Absolutely.
others before yourself. That's servant leadership at its core, right? You referenced Robert Greenleaf and Simon's Sinek's book. I mean, I love all of that, right? And it's right there in front of us. You know, I work for an agency that it was pretty well known, and so recently we experienced some some local moves. So basically, employees were shifting from one side of the campus to the other, and people were moving around like musical chairs from building to building, office to office, etc. 3,000 employees all eventually had to, in a staggered manner, move from one location to the next. New buildings, renovated buildings, you guessed it, right? You name it. But here was the point and the main inspiration for me. The entire A suite waited until everybody else was moved before they moved. So much like Simon Sinek's concept of leaders eating last, the leaders that I worked for waited until every single employee had been safely and appropriately relocated to their new location before they, at the very end of the process, remained in their old seats and then moved to their new A suite. That is what it should look like, right? Making sure that the
Absolutely.
employees were taken care of first. I loved it. And
Absolutely.
so every time I see it, I point it out. I'm retired Air Force, and I work for great leaders, and I work for not so great leaders. But the ones that I worked for who were really, really inspirational were servant leaders.
Mm-hmm.
And so I see it all the time. So I want to thank you for coming on and lifting our spirits and giving us yet another tool in which we can lean on and use in our daily walk, our professionally and personally. So I want to say this, Dr. Hughes. Where can people find you? Like, what's your handle? What you have website? I know you're doing a lot of stuff in the community. So where can people find you, and what does that look like?
I appreciate that, Dr. Bedison.
Yeah,
Well, you can find me on LinkedIn mostly. I love LinkedIn, is more professional. My handle
yeah,
is Dr.
yeah,
H Speaks, and that's also my handle on Facebook as well as Instagram. But I am very active on LinkedIn. My website, you can catch
yes.
me on my website. You can see a lot of material on my website at www.drhspeaks.com. That's drhspeaks.com. I have a podcast, books, all kinds of stuff going on. And one of the things I
I
want
love it.
to touch on real quick, if you don't mind,
Yeah,
if you
please. Yeah,
don't mind,
no, please.
is when I speak is because I have that enthusiasm and passion about what I talk about. And I've been
Right,
doing it for so long,
right.
we've been doing this for so long. It's part of our spirit. It
Yeah,
just comes out. So when
yes, right.
I'm thinking about adding value to the people. And
That's
so it's
right.
coming out in such a way where it's going to be seamless and I'm not going to waste
Yeah,
your time, but I'm going to
that's
try my
right.
best to give you as much information in the most robust, substantive, and comprehensive manner possible.
Right.
I thank you, Dr. Better,
Sir,
for the work that you're doing as well.
sir, your expressions are tight and succinct and on time. And I'm telling you, it resonates big time. I appreciate it, my friend. And
Thank
so that concludes this episode of the Tiny Pulpit. I want to thank again Dr. Hughes for coming on and inspiring us like he did. And we hope you'll come back again sometime in the future. I appreciate it, sir. And
you.
yeah, go ahead.
Whenever you invite me, I will be on.
I love it. And also, I want let me shameless plug. You have a brand new book that just hit the of the shelves recently, right? You want to talk about that really quickly? Listen, I'm not gonna let you go
It's
without
not.
that.
I appreciate it's not shameless for you, but it might be shameless for me.
No, let's do
I
it.
don't think
Please do that.
it's all
Please.
blurry. I don't think you can see it. But this is your copy. I'm going to autograph it. And I'm going to put
I
it in
love it.
for you tomorrow. But
Yeah,
yes, it's entitled "From Theater Freedom: Conquering Public Speaking with Emotional Intelligence." I came up with the concept of the book because a lot of people fear public speaking.
that's
We
right.
all.
Yeah,
I've had my own
yeah,
fears. some of the things I
That's
go
right.
through, believe it or not, still to this very day. And
Yeah.
I'm also an introvert. So some of these
Right.
things I had to work on and
Right.
go through my life ever since I was probably 16 years of
Yeah.
age. I
Yeah.
have compiled in this book the tips, the tricks, the tools, some of the things that I've learned and I personally developed over the course of many years of studying this craft, and hopefully it'll
Yeah.
be a blessing to others.
I love it. I can't wait to get my hands on the copy, the autograph copy, because I want to speak like a textbook, like my friend Tyler Hughes. And if
No,
that
you
book's
don't want
gonna
to
help
speak
me
like a
get there, I'm gonna
textbook. Not like a textbook.
I
I
love it. I love it, man. Well, hey, again, thank you for everything, sir. And I'm gonna stop the recording. We can chop it up after that. But again, this concludes this session. Thanks so much.
always a pleasure, Dr. Bettison.
Yeah.
Have a good day. Thank you so much.
Yeah.